Off, just very proud of our guys. Saturday, really clean execution. I really felt like we had our best week of practice, really all 4 days, Monday through Thursday last week. So as a coach, you really like to see um, clean execution come on a Saturday after you've had really good practice. And, our guys' mindset has been, it doesn't matter who we play, it's really all about how we play. And I felt like Saturday was a great example of that. And, I've been around here long enough to experience some games maybe when you're playing an opponent that you're supposed to beat, and guys maybe aren't quite as focused or quite as sharp. But I felt like, our guys were very prepared, had great energy, and were excited to play, and did a really good job. I think to have a special season, your best players need to play well. And I really think these last 4 weeks, our guys, speaking about the offense, Trevor and Travis, T, Amari Ross, DeAndre, all those wideouts, JC, and those offensive line, I just really like where those guys are mentally and physically, and really preparing each week with a one-game mindset. I think for us, it's just about continuing that process and working to get better and improve each week. And if we do that, we'll continue to have success. Getting ready for NC State. Obviously, we have a lot of respect for NC State. We've had some really good battles with them through the last few years. Really good atmosphere up there in Raleigh. And, I think looking at their defense this year, their scheme sets them up to do really good against the run. I think outside of one game against Boston College, who just lined up with a bunch of tight ends, they've done a really good job of stopping the run. Their 3-3 lineup on defense with 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers is a little bit different than a lot of the other odd fronts that we've seen, and changes a lot of our rules. So it'll be something that we have to spend a lot of time on this week to get ready for that. But I know our guys will be back this afternoon and be excited to go up to Raleigh on Saturday night.
Chris, is the focus that you saw from your team last week leading up to Wofford kind of encourage you about seeing an NC State team that's really been struggling this year?
Yeah, I think, number one, I think our guys have really bought into the mindset that it really doesn't matter who we play, it's about us, and it's about us getting better each week. Coach Sweeney does a fantastic job of really setting that stage. But, whenever they turn on the video and watch NC State's defense, those guys make plays. It's not sometimes maybe what you see on a stat sheet and what you see when you sit down and actually watch the video are different pictures. So these guys, they got some talented players. I think they've got one defensive end that has 7 sacks on the year. They've done a good job getting pressure on the quarterback. I know that they've battled some injuries, but I think overall this scheme is just very unique and is one that'll definitely have our guys' attention. And we'll have to go up and play well, just like every time that you go play at NC State, you got to play well to have success. But, for us, where we are in our season, it's really, it's all about, how we play and really improving from where we were the week before.
Between the laptop a few years ago and the towel thing, it seems like there's just been some interesting moments. Just what kind of stands out about this series and your memories?
Yeah, to be honest, what stands out is they're a tough out. I remember they've played us very physical. Their defense has been very physical each time that we've played them. I remember, I guess it was a couple years ago here, Wayne Gallman got knocked out of the game on the first drive, and we had, a bunch of turnovers that their defense caused. But, I think just probably I would say the Clemson NC State battle, over the last 4 or 5 years has probably been, one of our toughest games and most competitive games. So I think just the respect that we have for that group, and I know there's been some little things on the side to have fun with, but overall we have a lot of respect for them and their program, and have no doubt that they'll be ready to play, and we'll have to play well.
You mentioned that their base scheme is something unique for what you'd see, but how much throughout this year year, have you guys gotten like different looks than maybe you would expect from what you've seen on film? Like, because teams are just kind of throwing the kitchen sink at you.
Yeah, it definitely has, and that's to be expected when you've had the success that we've had. People, I think a lot of it probably is a compliment to Trevor and his skill set and the way he's able to make decisions. If he knows how you're going to line up, he does a good job of putting the ball where it needs to be. So I think there's a lot of people coming in that maybe want to go against their tendencies that they have leading up. Last week, same way, even with Wofford, they did some things differently from a coverage perspective than we'd prepared for all week. The one good thing about that is that we prepare against our defense year-round, and Coach Venables, really shows us about everything possible that you can do on defense in the first 2 days of fall camp. So even though it may be a little bit different than what we'd seen on video leading up, we have a kind of a database we can reach back to pull up some things and execute, based on what we see. But there's no doubt we've seen that, and we'll continue to see that as the year goes.
Coach Ross has 5 touchdowns. Higgins and Rogers have 4 each. Overton has 3. When you have as many weapons as you do, as many stars as you do on offense, how nice is it to be able to spread the wealth as evenly as you have, and how conscientious is that, or is it just going to happen that way?
Yeah, I think that that's definitely part of our formula. There's other teams out there that they play their first 3 wideouts, and the 4th or 5th guy might not get into the 4th quarter no matter what the score is. But for us, number one, we feel like we've recruited well, and we got a lot of really good depth. And then those guys deserve an opportunity to play, and I think it helps the starters whenever they don't have quite as many miles on their legs later in the year. And it's just worked really well for us. Our guys, the guys have to buy into that and understand that, some games, against Boston College, DeAndre Overton had 3 touchdowns, and he didn't have 1 catch yesterday or Saturday against Wofford. So it can change week by week. But really, the number one focus is what can we do as a group to help, our offense and help our team win the game. And, who that ball finds every week, may be a little bit different depending on when they're in, what plays are called, the schemes, all the time in the game, all those type of things. But, I think we have, not just at wideout, we have a very unselfish group of players. I know specifically the guys I deal with every day on offense. It's really at every position. We're rolling a lot of guys at offensive line, probably more than we ever have. And I think that just, helps us within the game, and then also helps us big picture, as we continue to play later in the year.
The question is coming, Willie Taggart, let go. How do you, as Brett, Tony, your names are going to be thrown out there for everything that's open. How do you as coaches handle that, knowing, you're trying to make another push for a playoff in an ACC championship, but knowing that all that is going to be out there?
Yeah, I think probably just our experience the last 4 or 5 years with the success that we've had here at Clemson. It's natural for some of our coaches' names to be put out there, but really it goes back to what we talk to our players about all the time. That this is the most important time of the year, that we have great focus. And the players, they have a lot of things coming. You got seniors that are thinking about the NFL. You got juniors that maybe are thinking about decisions whether they're going to leave or stay. And there can be a lot of things this time of year. And then coaches, maybe names getting tossed around a little bit. But I think our success has come because our players and coaches have done a great job of staying focused on the task at hand. And I've heard it said that you should be so busy being great at doing your job, that success and those things will find you. And I think that's, what I've seen in my own career. I've never been one to be on the internet out there chasing rumors or trying to go chase a job. But, if you do a great job where you are, then you're going to have opportunities to move up. And that's what's happened for me here at Clemson. Being a GA, trying to be the best GA that I could be, and Coach Sweeney had an opportunity to move me up, and recruiting coordinator, and then get an opportunity to move up the next way. So I think for us, it's a compliment to our players in this program, the success that we have, that people would talk about our coaches. But I think, we've done a great job of really just kind of staying focused on really what matters at this moment, and that's, continuing to give our players the best plan. I mean, I think about it every morning, that I wake up and come into the office is, I'm still trying to prove to Coach Sweeney, to our staff, and to our players that I'm the best coach for my job that I have right now. I mean, that's really what my focus is. And, I think as a coach, you always want to give your players, the best plan and the best opportunity for them to be successful. So to allow yourself to look out and get distracted by things that you can't control, really kind of takes from that.
Jeff, do you think that the early signing period in recruiting now has affected coaching changes in the way that they're making decisions like they did at Florida State to make this move at this time?
Yeah, there's no doubt that the early signing period has had a lot of probably unintended consequences that have come, and there's no doubt that probably has affected some of the timing on coaches' changes and all those type of things. But for us, it's coming during that championship phase, right? And we're trying to finish our goals that we have, and so. It's just the same message we preach to our players. We tell ourselves just kind of staying locked in, but there's no doubt that the early signing period has had an impact on that.
What was your reaction when you heard that Taggart had been let go?
Probably, to be honest, being a coach's kid of a coach that's been fired before, just kind of thinking about those coaches, and that's always a difficult time for them and their families. And so that probably was my first thought.
Do you have a protocol, like you mentioned this coming during the championship phase, like if there are interested parties, do you say, wait, only after this point would I, entertain anything, or how does that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't have some set standard rules of the way that I handle things. I think the way I've always handled things when opportunities have presented themselves in the past, I really just go and when it gets serious, go and take that to Coach Sweeney, let him know what's going on, kind of seek his advice and opinions, and then kind of handle it from there and just kind of really take it, as it comes, but still remembering, what the most important things are at that time and where the focus should be. But it's not an easy timing for anybody. Probably not easy timing for the schools that are looking to make a change, and definitely not easy for the coaches that are all out coaching, wanting to give their best for their players at the most important time of the year.
For you and your experience, especially with your dad being a head coach, how much does that go into you when you go and you are pursued by somebody like that? How much do you think about those experiences he had?
Probably more than anything, I think about my dad's experience going from an assistant coach to a head coach, and fortunately for me, I was able to watch that and witness that firsthand. And, there's a lot of decisions. It's an inexact science. I mean, to be honest, and this may not, for some people it may come as a surprise, but I mean, I really love being at Clemson right now, and with a 4-year-old daughter and a wife that went to Clemson. I mean, I really just want to kind of pause this moment in time that we have right now. And Tony and I talk about it all the time is, how long can we kind of keep what we have right here, because it's very special, and there's no doubt that if you have success in your profession, that there's a desire to move up if it's the right move and all that, but that's going to come at some point down the road if you continue to do well. But really, there's a feeling that we have something really, really special that's very rare. I really look at this situation at Clemson very similar to my dad's situation at Florida State, where there was great continuity among, that coaching staff, the success that they had. But to be able to come here every day and be able to be around Coach Sweeney and be around this coaching staff and these players, we have like 80 coaches' kids and staff kids between 1 and 18. And so, to have a daughter in this atmosphere, you couldn't ask for anything better.
Can you kind of describe what would
All I know is I haven't seen that yet. That's what I'll say. And it's kind of like Coach Sweeney talks about with our players. We're talking about playing with great effort, playing with the eye of the tiger. You know it when you see it, and you know it when you don't. And for me, being a Christian, Jeremiah 29:11, says that the Lord kind of has our path planned out. And so for me, that just takes away a lot of anxiety or really worry about the future or what may or may not come, and just really being great today. And I can look back at my career up to this point, and a lot of the opportunities that I had really were not from things that I personally created. It's just kind of being at the right place at the right time. And I have no doubt that the Lord's hand has been a big part in my move to where I am at Clemson. And so I think you just kind of have to take it how it comes. And, every day is a new day, but really just embracing today, embracing this moment and this opportunity. I mean, I have no doubt that the run that we're on right now, we're all kind of zeroed in on, day by day. But I have no doubt that, we'll look back years from now and look at how special, these years have been, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that.
A lot has been and will be made of your ties to Florida State. Do you still have a lot of relationships there, or what has Tallahassee meant to you and family over here?
Yeah, I usually keep those comments to when we're playing Florida State. So I'll say that. So you probably dig some up from there. But, there's no doubt that was a special time in our life for my dad and our family growing up there. But really, I don't think it's worth me going on any further than that right now.
Have we probably seen the last of Justin Ross on punt returns, or is he still working there something?
No, he still works back there, and I would definitely like to get him back there. I think just the way the game went, we wanted to get DK some action, and then after DK got one, we were thinking about putting Justin back there, and then kind of just the score dictated not to do that.
Jeff, Devo used the term collision balance to describe Travis's ability to go full speed and keep keep going through contact. Have you ever seen? I guess Gallman was similar, maybe, but anybody who's that fast and that.
Yeah, he's. I know in my time at Clemson, he's the best that I've seen as far as having great balance, and very few times does the first guy tackle him in open space. I mean, it's one thing to be explosive. It's another thing to be able to bounce off of tacklers and then be able to put your foot in the ground and go score. So he's got a great skill set, and I think that's going to definitely translate well to the next level because of all the contact at that level. But I definitely would have to say he's one of the best that I've seen since here at Clemson.
Jeff, as a coordinator, I know you guys want to be balanced and have like that 50-50 sheet and look at your run pass. But with the way Travis is hot, when you're out there calling a game and somebody like Travis is as hot as he is, how do you keep from not just feeding him that football and going away from your game plan to go with the hot hand?
Yeah, I mean, I think each week is new, each game is new, each drive can be a little bit different. And obviously Travis is an exceptional back. Linjay's done a really good job. Those other young backs have done a good job when they've gotten some opportunity. But I think a big part has been having 4 senior offensive linemen, having Jackson Carman come in and play well at left tackle. That's I tell those OL, every week before the game, hey, we're going to ride you guys. I mean, like you guys have heard me say before, we've had skill guys around here for a long time. But as our offensive line has gotten better and better, that's really allowed us to take this next step. And so there's no secret that we want to ride those guys up front and Travis and those backs. And when you do that, then that opens up things in your passing game. And then there may be weeks where people decide to load the box, and you got to be able to throw it. And we're just fortunate to have Trevor and these wideouts that have been able to execute in those situations as well. And then, you may not have complete balance in each game, but when you kind of look at, 9 games in, that's really where you want to be able to see that balance and try to keep defenses guessing.
Did you see Travis and Isaiah race when that occurred?
I did not. I heard a little bit about it, but I did not see it. I think it was, I don't know exactly when it was. I don't think we were out there. I think it was in the summer, something like that.
I know that Travis had plenty of success running the ball in RPOs, but getting the ball, do you think maybe helps, I guess, feeds into his
Yeah.
aggression?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt, not just with us and our RPOs. I think with all the RPOs out there, there's a lot of advantages to it. I think it keeps defenses kind of having to guess whether run or pass all the way until the decision is made. But I do think, and we've tried to be very intentional to not just have every play be an RPO, because we do have a lot of situations we want to hand that ball off to Travis no matter what. And because even if there is an extra hat, he does a good job of making a guy miss. So, there's no doubt that it can be easier for a back when he knows that he's getting the ball. But Travis has done a good job, even in the RPO. I think for him, a big thing that he's had to work on, over the last 2 years is having patience. Whenever we are having some of those RPOs and letting the linebackers kind of fit in some certain places before he goes and understands what lane he's going to hit. But he's done a good job with that. But there's no doubt if you ask him, he wants that ball in his hands and does a good job with that.
You mentioned that you thought back to your father and your family when you find out that Taggart got fired. Is that side of it maybe missing a little bit from when these things are talked about?
As far as what? I'm sorry.
Sort of the family side of this whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I think about that, again, I go back to just thinking about how fortunate that we are here at Clemson, how rare it is to be able to be at a place, this is my 12th year. I mean, it's incredible as a college coach. I mean, I can vividly remember the discussions that my dad and I had when I was coaching high school ball, and I was talking about leaving high school to go into college, and my dad honestly was hoping that I would maybe want to stay in high school. And part of that is he knew that even though he'd been fortunate in his career to only be at 3 spots, that's not the norm. And so there's a lot of moving. I got a lot of buddies that coach with me here at Clemson or have coached other places that have moved all around, and that is difficult on the families, but it's part of the profession. But really for me, it makes me really appreciate what we have here at Clemson and the stability that Coach Sweeney's been able to create. And I think part of that is what keeps a lot of these coaches here, because there's very few places in the country do you have the stability and the chemistry that we have here with our staff.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.